kitchen. I'm Nicko. Today we're going to be making spaghetti and meatballs with a crusty garlic bread. Now it's something that we make all the time for our friends and family. It's something that we have for dinner all the time. But more often than not, it's not done right. So I'm going to show you today my way of spaghetti and meatballs. So come over here and we'll go through the ingredients. Okay, spaghetti and meatballs. If done right, it tastes fantastic. I'm going to show you some of the ingredients that we're going to go through. I've got a list of ingredients on the side of the page with all the measurements and everything, so just have a look there if you want to. Now, first of all, I'm going to go through the meatball mix. Now, what we've got here is about 500 grams of minced beef, okay, or sausage meat, or whatever you want to call it. It's about an 80%, 20% with a 20% fat content. Just keeps the meatballs nice and moist. Now, also into the meatballs, we're going to be putting some stale breadcrumbs, some beautiful parmesan cheese. I love parmesan cheese. We'll crack one egg into there as well, and of course salt and pepper, and some barbecue spices, and some my favourite steak spice. We'll also be putting in there just a tiny bit of garlic as well. Now, into the bolognese, or the sauce if you want to call it, today we're putting in some mushrooms, just some button mushrooms, just diced up finely, some bacon, just about 3 rashers of bacon diced up nice and fine. Again, we've got some garlic paste. Now, I use the garlic paste instead of the real garlic because I find you get a better flavour out of the paste. We've got some diced tomatoes. Don't put fresh tomatoes in your pasta. It takes a long time to cook, and I find that these have got a much better flavour. But you can use, any sort of diced tomatoes. It doesn't have to be just this one. And some tomato paste. Okay. Now, we've also got some pasta, obviously, as well. Today I'm using linguine, which is quite a fine pasta, but the finer the pasta I find the better. You could use anything you got lying around, anything that's handy, that's fine. And of course, we're going to be sprinkling some basil. Now, I picked some fresh basil. I haven't got that much parsley, but I usually do put parsley in mine, but today we're just going to put some basil in. And also into the sauce mix is some freshly chopped onion. And for our bread, you can use any sort of bread. I'm just using a focaccia sort of, or a flat sliced roll that's quite herbed, and we'll put some garlic butter on them later on. But we'll get to that in a little while. So what we'll do now, we'll make our meatball mix. So just grab a bowl, and I'll bring you over. Okay, we've got our bowl. We'll just put our mince in. Some people use a mixture, both of sort of beef and lamb. I've done it a couple of times. It's okay. I do prefer just using the one beef mince. I do love beef. Okay, into this we want to put some breadcrumbs. About a cup of breadcrumbs. Now, what the breadcrumbs will do, it will stop the meatball mix from going really dry, because it will absorb all that pasta sauce and will keep them really, really moist. Some pepper in there, some salt. I'm using rock salt. I find it's got a really nice taste. We'll crack one egg. Now, I usually crack that egg in another bowl just in case it's off. But I knew these were fresh eggs. So, but it's always a good tip to crack your egg in another bowl and then add it before you spoil your mixture. Some parmesan cheese, you want this in there, this is great. I love this. Really brings out the flavour, and again just keeps it nice and moist with a nice cheesy flavour. And some basil, you want some basil in there as well. Okay, some spices. We've got some steak spice. Let's throw that on it. And we've got some barbecue spice as well. Now, I use Italian spice as well. I mean, I love the Italian spices, but I just did this one day, and I don't know, it just made it not smoky, but just a nice flavour to it. Just had a nice little kick. and of course just a little bit of garlic there. Okay, now this is the moment where you want to have your hands nice and clean. This is very important because we're going to be mixing this with our hands. You don't want to do this with a spoon. You don't want to do this with a fork, folks. You want to get your hands in there and really get into it. Okay, our meatballs are done. You can see there we've made our meatballs. Now what we want to do with these now is brown them off. Okay, we want to all coat them with oil. We just want to seal them in. We'll put in our onion. And that's the sound you want to hear, folks, that nice sizzle. Got some mushrooms. Ooh, got some bacon. This is going to be great. Just want to mix those around. Now you want the onions to become sort of translucent or golden brown, and we want the bacon not crispy but just cooked through, making sure that it's cooked. You don't want any raw bacon, and the mushrooms are nice and tender. Okay, now we're going to add some salt, some pepper, we're going to add our tomato paste, going to add some garlic, lovely. Just give that a mix through, make sure everything's well combined. Oh, it smells so good. There's nothing better than onions and bacon frying up together. Okay, so we want to just leave that for about a minute or so. Okay, but the onions are nice and soft. I can feel that the mushrooms are nice and tender, and the bacon smells fantastic, which is telling me it's cooked. Now, to this, we want to add some Italian diced tomatoes. Now, I've just got this brand. You don't have to. You can buy any one you like. You can get crushed tomatoes. You can get whole tomatoes and cut them yourself. You could have it whole if you wanted to. I got the diced ones. Like I said before, don't even bother trying to put fresh ones in. You can if you want to. I've tried it before with grape tomatoes or cherry tomatoes. It's okay, but this I find has got a real nice concentrated flavour. So what we're going to do, 1 can, straight in there like that. Okay. Get rid of the can. Turn it down a little. And we just want to mix that through. I'm going to turn that right down low to a very low heat. Okay. And now we're going to add our meatballs back into the pan. We just want to place them in the bolognese sauce. Okay, we want to really soak up that sauce. Okay. Now we'll just turn them